You wake up in a small apartment. It's 6:30 in the morning. Your alarm has been ringing for the past 10 minutes, but you don't want to get up. Not because you're lazy, but because you already know what the day is going to look like. Bills, stress, work, repeat. This is your life at $20,000 a year in America. You check your bank account before getting out of bed. $312. That's all you have. And rent is due in 5 days. You do the math in your head like you always do. If you skip eating out, maybe stretch groceries, maybe delay one bill, you might survive the month. But deep down, you know, you're one emergency away from everything falling apart. You rush through your morning. There's no time for a healthy breakfast, just cheap coffee and maybe a leftover snack. You step outside, and the world feels like it's moving faster than you. People in suits, nice cars, expensive apartments, and you wonder, how are they doing it? Your job doesn't pay enough. You work hard, sometimes even overtime, but at the end of the month, it still feels like you're running on a treadmill that never stops. You're not building wealth. You're just surviving. And here's the scary part. Millions of Americans are stuck right here. But now, let's move forward. Imagine your income doubles. Now you're making $50,000 a year. Things should feel better, right? And they do, at first. You move into a slightly better apartment. You can afford decent groceries now. Maybe even eat out once or twice a week without feeling guilty. You finally feel like you can breathe a little, but something strange happens. Your expenses quietly grow with your income. It's subtle. You don't even notice it at first. You upgrade your phone. You finance a better car. You start ordering convenience instead of cooking. You tell yourself, I deserve this. I worked hard for it. And you're not wrong, but slowly, your new lifestyle becomes your new normal. And suddenly, that extra money you were supposed to save disappears. You're no longer struggling like before, but you're not getting ahead either. You're stuck in what people call the middle-class trap. You're comfortable, but still dependent. If you lose your job tomorrow, you still have maybe a few months at best. And this is where most people in America spend their entire lives. Not poor enough to panic, not rich enough to be free, just stuck in the middle. Now imagine another jump. You're earning $100,000 a year. This is the number most people dream about. 6 figures. It sounds like success. And honestly, life does get better here. You can live in a nice neighborhood. You don't stress about groceries anymore. You can travel occasionally. Maybe even start investing a little. From the outside, it looks like you've made it. But here's the truth no one tells you. In many parts of the U.S., $100,000 isn't rich. It's just stable. Taxes take a big chunk. Rent or mortgage eats another. Insurance, car payments, subscriptions, they all add up faster than you expect. And if you're not careful, you can still end up living paycheck to paycheck, even at $100,000. But there's a difference now. At this level, you finally have a choice. You can either keep upgrading your lifestyle, or you can start building your future. This is where the path splits. Most people choose comfort, a nicer car, a bigger house, better vacations. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But a small group of people, they think differently. They delay gratification. They invest aggressively. They focus on assets instead of expenses. And that's what separates the middle class from the wealthy. Now let's go higher. You're making $250,000 a year. At this level, life changes in a noticeable way. You're not just surviving anymore. You're not just stable either. You have real financial power. You can max out your investments. You can build multiple income streams. You can afford experiences that once felt impossible. And most importantly, time starts to feel different. You're no longer trading every single hour for money. You have options. You can take a break. You can switch careers. You can start a business without the fear of immediate failure. But here's something interesting. Even at $250,000, not everyone feels rich. Because wealth isn't just about how much you make. It's about how much you keep and how you use it. Some people at this level still live paycheck to paycheck. Bigger house, luxury car, private schools, expensive lifestyle, more money, but also more pressure. And then there are those who quietly build wealth in the background. They don't look flashy. They don't show off. But behind the scenes, their investments are growing. Their money is working for them, and they're getting closer to something most people never reach: freedom. Now, take it one step further. $500,000 a year, $500,000. At this level, you're playing a completely different game. Your daily decisions are no longer about survival or even comfort. They're about optimization. Where should you invest? How do you reduce taxes? How do you multiply your wealth? You're surrounded by opportunities. business deals, investments, networks. Money is no longer the main problem. Now it's about time and leverage. You understand something most people don't. Making money is one thing. Keeping it and growing it is another. And this is where the mindset truly shifts. You stop thinking like an employee. You start thinking like an owner. You build systems. You create assets. You focus on things that generate money, even when you're not working. But here's the twist. Getting to $500,000 isn't just about working harder, because if hard work was the answer, everyone would be rich. It's about thinking differently, acting differently, making decisions most people avoid, and most importantly, understanding how money actually works. Right now, wherever you are on this scale, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, your future depends on one thing: the choices you make next, because the gap between these levels isn't just income. It's mindset, it's habits, it's strategy. And the truth is, most people will never move up, not because they can't, but because they don't change how they think. So the question is, if most people stay stuck, then who actually moves up? And more importantly, how do you become one of them? Because the difference between $20,000 and $500,000 isn't luck, it's not talent, and it's definitely not just working harder. It's understanding a game that most people don't even realize they're playing. At $20,000 a year, your focus is survival. You're trading time for money every single day. And there's nothing wrong with that, because at that level, you don't have a choice. But if you stay there too long, something dangerous happens. You start believing that this is all life is. Wake up, work, pay bills, repeat, and that belief becomes your prison. The people who escape this level, they do one thing differently. They stop thinking only about their job and start thinking about their value. They ask themselves, what skill can I learn that the market actually pays for? Because in America, income follows value, not effort. You could work 12 hours a day doing something low value and still struggle. Or you could spend a few focused hours doing something high value and get paid exponentially more. That's the first shift from worker to skilled player. When you move to $50,000, the trap isn't survival anymore. It's comfort. Life gets easier, just enough to make you stop pushing. And this is where most people slow down. They get used to the paycheck, the routine, the small upgrades, and without realizing it, they trade their long-term freedom for short-term comfort. The ones who break through this level, they do something uncomfortable. They live below their means on purpose, not because they have to, but because they're building something. They save aggressively. They invest consistently. They don't try to look rich. They focus on becoming rich. And that's a huge difference, because in the US, looking rich is easy. Financing is everywhere. Credit makes everything feel affordable. But real wealth, that's built quietly, over time, with discipline. At $100,000, the game changes again. Now you have enough income to build real momentum, but you also have enough income to destroy your future if you're not careful. Because now, every decision gets bigger. A slightly nicer car becomes a luxury car. A decent apartment becomes a high-end lease. Vacations get more expensive. Your circle changes, and so do your expectations. And suddenly, you're not comparing yourself to where you came from. You're comparing yourself to people who have more than you, and that comparison can keep you stuck forever. The people who rise past this level, they stop playing the comparison game. They start playing the ownership game. They invest in stocks. They buy assets. They think about income streams, not just income, because they understand something critical. A salary can make you comfortable, but assets make you free. Now, at $250,000, you're no longer trying to make it. You're trying to multiply it. And this is where leverage enters the picture. You start asking different questions. How can I make money without trading my time? How can I scale this? How can I use systems, people, or capital to grow faster? Because there's a limit to how much you can earn by yourself, but there's no limit to what you can earn when your money starts working for you. This is where businesses are built. This is where investments get serious. This is where you stop thinking in hours and start thinking in outcomes. And the people who master this level, they understand one thing very clearly. Time is more valuable than money, because you can always make more money, but you can't get your time back. And then, at $500,000 and beyond, the game becomes completely internal. It's no longer about proving anything to the world. It's about control. Control over your time, control over your decision, control over your life. You don't wake up because you have to. You wake up because you choose to. you. And the irony is, the people who reach this level often live simpler than you'd expect because they're no longer chasing validation. They're protecting freedom. But here's the reality most people don't want to hear. You don't magically jump from $20,000 to $500,000. You evolve into it step by step, decision by decision, habit by habit, and every level requires a different version of you. The habits that keep you alive at $20,000 won't make you successful at $100,000. The mindset that gets you to $100,000 won't take you to $500,000. You have to keep changing, keep adapting, keep growing. So where does that leave you right now? Maybe you're at $20,000 trying to survive. Maybe you're at $50,000 feeling stuck. Maybe you're at $100,000 wondering why it still doesn't feel like enough. Wherever you are, you're closer than you think because the biggest shift isn't outside, it's inside. It's the moment you realize that your income is not fixed, your situation is not permanent, and your future is still being written. Most people will watch this, feel motivated for a few minutes, and then go back to the same routine, the same habits, the same decisions. And a year from now, nothing will change, but a small percentage will do something different. They'll learn a new skill, they'll start investing, they'll cut unnecessary expenses, they'll take action, even when it's uncomfortable. And those people, they're the ones who move up. So the only question left is, which one are you going to be? Because 5 years from now, you'll either look back and say, I wish I started earlier, or I'm glad I did. And it all starts with the next decision you make.